Ayo, Zenpuck here. Another day not working for the man. Well, today's topic is dear to my heart, which is, should you use a credit card? Well, the real answer is that it depends, right? What does it depend on? This is real simple, okay? Let me put it to you straight. If you've ever paid a credit card company interest or any kind of fees or interest, then no, credit cards are not for you, okay? Don't ever use credit cards. Simple as that, okay? I feel like this is relevant for most of Dave Ramsey's audience, right? People call in his show because they feel trapped. They have a lot of credit card debt, and this is very common amongst Americans, right? Though I would say the data is a little skewed, right? People talk about how the average credit card debt is heavy, in the thousands, right? But that's the average. It doesn't mean that everyone has the average debt, right? It just means that people who have debt probably have a lot more debt, right? Whereas people like me, who always pay their bill on time every month, have never ever been charged any level of interest. And if you do it that way, it's not a problem, right? So the reason why I say if you have debt, you shouldn't use credit card at all is because, to be honest, any level of credit card debt, the interest rate is ridiculously high, okay, compared to all sorts of other loans you can get. So what I would say is that if you can't trust yourself to, pay on time every month, which means that, your eyes are bigger than your wallet, right? And you see things that you want to buy, you have no idea whether you have the cash for it. To me, it's like, if you have the cash for it, times 5, do you still have the cash for it? Think about it for a week, maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month, and then buy it. If you're not that person, you impulse buy things without any idea of whether you have the cash on hand, you don't deserve to use credit cards, right? I'm not saying that you're not the ideal customer for credit card companies. You are, right? You're the one that makes the money that keeps guys like me afloat. I'm just saying you should not be using credit cards at all, okay? Terrible advice for you. Now, on the other hand, if and only if you pay off your credit card bill in full every month, and you've historically always done that, then yes, you should use credit cards. Because, to be honest, credit cards comes with some inherently built-in features that are just good, okay? There's no downsides to it, okay? Here are the things that you're missing out if you're using cash instead of a credit card, okay? One, with a credit card, you essentially get a delay in, when you have to pay the bill, right? You buy something at a store, and usually, the bill doesn't come for like a week or two, usually, right? And then you got like about 28 days to pay it. So on average, I'd say it's about a month delay, right? So now, I don't want you to use the month delay as some sort of excuse, though. This is where the danger comes in, right? Like, you can't say, hey, I will have this money to pay this bill in, say, 30 days, right? I don't have it right now, but I will have it by the time that this credit card bill comes due. That's not how this works, okay? That's terrible habit building, right? If you don't have the money to pay for the item that you want to swipe your card to buy, in fact, if you don't have the money to buy that item, times 3 or times 5, then you don't buy it, right? If you don't have that money right now, you don't buy it. The reason I say this is because you don't know what's going to happen in a month, okay? I'm a cynic, so I like to prepare for the worst. In a month, you could lose your job, okay? No more paycheck. If you're a freelancer, maybe somebody pays you late. You can't really help those kind of circumstances, right? So if you don't have the money right now, then you shouldn't buy it. But the difference is, if you do have the money, the fact that you have 1 month's reprieve from paying that means that your cash flow is going to be stronger. Okay, so that's number one, a really good, plus, right? Number two, correctly using credit cards. In fact, correctly using multiple credit cards, helps you build a credit score over time. Now, personally, I didn't even know about this. I didn't look this hard into it because my credit score is always hover around 800, but it's not perfect, right? I didn't realize that to get a perfect credit score, I actually needed more lines of credit. Now that I'm retired, I've totally been working on that, okay? Now I have like more than a dozen credit cards. all of which I pay in full every month. Okay, if I even end up using them. Like, let's be honest. I have more than a dozen credit cards. I'm not using all of them every month, right? I'm using maybe 3 or 4 every month, but I pay all of them in full. This helps build my credit score. If you're a part of the Dave Ramsey's crowd, you might be like, oh, he says you don't need a credit score. I'm not going to disagree with his point on this. You don't need a credit score, but it's helpful, okay? You don't need an automobile to get around either, okay? You could ride a bicycle, you could walk, you could take public transport, but all those things might take you, 3, 4, 5x as long to get you from point A to point B, okay? But you don't need an automobile, but it's helpful. Same with a credit score, okay? You don't need it, it's true, right? You can find alternatives to getting a loan, like a home mortgage is usually what people use credit scores for. You don't need it. You could find it in other ways, but it's probably going to affect what options that you have, right? And these days, to be honest, if you want to rent, if you want to get a job, they all check your credit score. So not having a credit score, not helpful, okay? I'd say especially if you're younger and earlier on in your career, having a reasonable credit score that you could easily achieve. I mean, look, for the majority of my life, up until I almost reached financial independence, so up until my mid-30s, I only had 2 credit cards, okay? I had one that I used, usually, and another as a backup, okay? That's all I had. And my credit score has never been below 800, okay? So, it's a good thing to have a good credit score. It doesn't affect you negatively at all to have a good credit score. But Dave Ramsey's right? Credit score just means like whether you qualify to have people give you more loans. Now, I hope you're not thinking about being in more debt than you absolutely need to be, but having the option of people giving you loans is not a bad thing in itself, right? Okay, number 3. Now, if you're going to use a credit card, I hope you're using some sort of rewards credit card, okay? And by using anything that gives you, even 1.5% back, 2% back, which is a very basic level of rewards cards, right? Any level of rewards cards just means you're clawing back the extra amount that any establishment that lets you swipe a card is already actually adding onto your bill, right? By the fact that they take credit card as a method of payment. Now, you might be like, what the heck does that mean? Well, it's simple, right? I'm going to compare credit card versus cash, right? You go to a store, you want to buy, let's say, a shirt, and it's $50, okay? It's not really $50, right? They're actually going to charge you, let's say, $52. Why? Because they accept credit cards, and credit cards charge them a 1 to 2%, sometimes almost 3% or 4% transaction fee, essentially, okay? Now, here's the thing, though. If you pay them cash, they don't have to pay this this transaction fee. So what they should do is not charge you that extra bit of money, right? Do stores do that? If you pay cash, they give you a 1 or 2% or 3% discount? They absolutely do not do that, okay? So the credit card transaction fee is baked into the price. So by you using cash, okay, if you pay $52 for a shirt, that really is $50 plus the 2% transaction fee, you're simply losing out on that $2, okay? Now, with rewards credit cards, you can get that in forms of cash back. I mean, there's all sorts of optimizations you could do on the rewards side, right? This is not what this video is about, right? Because there's much more detailed, educational YouTube channels that can tell you all about that. That specific video, about the credit card game. Look them up. I like Ask Sebi. Guys like that, they do a wonderful job, right? But my point is, half of the battle on rewards credit card is simply you getting that money back from the vendor because that they would accept credit cards at all. That is ridiculous. Okay, so if you use cash, you're simply paying me, people who use credit cards. Okay, I'm getting the benefit and you're getting gypped. Simple as that, right? And finally, of course, with rewards credit cards, you could get so much more value out of simply clawing back the cash discount that you should be getting, right? For people who use cash, right? What I'm talking about is like you could see it. American Express and Chase have these great travel cards. I mean, this year, because of the pandemic, people are like heavy up on groceries and deliveries and food deliveries and services like that. So you could get all sorts of great rates of return if you really want to look into that game, right? I am by no means optimized, right? I try to be, but sometimes it's a pain in the butt. Like, I don't carry all dozen of my credit cards in my wallet at the same time because I still like to keep a relatively lean wallet, right? So before I go anywhere, depending on the occasion, I'll rotate the cards out. No, I didn't do that when I had a full-time job. You know why? Because it's hard to keep track of more than 12 credit cards. Okay, for a regular person, if you want to do it as a hobby, as something fun, go for it, right? But sky's the limit is what I'm trying to say, right? Like, you can get way better returns, and you can get sign-up bonuses and things like that. I mean, these are not life-changing level of money. Okay. Sign-up bonus, if you sign up for like 2 or 3 cards a year, maybe you make like the equivalent of $1,000, right? Is that life-changing money? It is not, right? It really isn't. It wasn't for me back when I had a job, and it's still not for me now that I don't have a real job and just make money off of my investments. But still, can you not use an extra $1,000 a year? Really, to me, that's like a really, really life-defining meal at a 3-star Michelin restaurant, right? Or, a slew of Christmas presents at the very least. Hopefully you can get all your Christmas shopping done, certainly for under $1,000, right? Think about that. So, that's what credit cards can get you for free if you are using them correctly, right? Again, I'm not saying everyone should use credit cards, okay? If you're the ones that make money for the credit card companies, thank you for, keeping those companies afloat and keeping the rewards coming to me, okay? Thank you so much, okay? You shouldn't use credit cards at all, but if, you're not going to listen to me anyway, so you're going to keep doing what you're doing and go into more debt, fantastic. That's how I make my rewards, right? That's how I get my extra G for doing nothing, okay? Anyway, that's my spiel. Have a good night.